appreciate all your hard work. Hey, we'll go back and pick up the department reports. And Tommy Lee was in earlier today, and as you all know, we're still waiting on the final approved MOA for the Flex Fund. It'll be ready to go back to Blacktop, and now the rain, hopefully the rain's over, and we can get that last half dozen roads or so. I don't think there's a whole lot left. Saw Melissa putting together the request for reimbursement on all the discretionary roads that we got Blacktop, which was the majority of them, so we're making progress there. So I know they had a little trouble and replaced the engine, I guess, in the that animal removal truck. I think they've got that back going again. I don't have any large update, and I thought maybe Tommy might be here, but anyway. Keith, you have anything you want to add to your report?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
After I submitted my written report earlier this week, I received a communication from Kentucky Division of Waste Management regarding the Ebola, the enteral viruses, and the issues that we're facing nationally as far as potential for an epidemic for Ebola and other viruses. It's not a pleasant subject, but it's a real subject. And they were picking my brain because of my public health background about amending regulations with regard to universal precautions on the transportation and disposal of biohazardous waste. Now, whether the court knows it or not, we actually, from a local level, regulate. We permit hazardous waste haulers in our county. We have one that comes through our county, and I put them under permit regularly. It hasn't been a big issue because it really hasn't affected anything but the medical institutions in the state of Kentucky. In other words, they dispose of their biohazardous waste, and the company picks it up and transports it to a site where it's all incinerated. But they were kind of picking my brain, and I'm going to, I think, volunteer to maybe make myself available to any committees or anything in the state that maybe will want to promulgate some new regulations on this thing. They're kind of concerned about individuals having somebody to go to locally with regard to answering questions on how to dispose of biologically hazardous waste, what's the good methods to do it, what's the dangers and the risks involved in it. And if any of your constituents has any questions about the proper disposal of biohazardous waste, have them give me a call. Because of my background, I'm still federally and state certified to answer those questions. In fact, I've taught bloodborne pathogen plastics at the local industries. That's basically the end of my comments on it. But there could be some things coming down the pike because this Ebola issue, and to a lesser extent, the enteroviruses that are hitting the children, they're real issues.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
To use the state's verbiage on that, the agency is now getting questions about Ebola and the proper way to handle, treat, dispose of medical waste. The agencies that are concerned, and by the way, there's a lot of agencies concerned on the transportation and disposal of medical waste. But the Division of Waste Management, of which we're a part, has more regulations and regulates more of that piece of the puzzle than any other. Even more than the health department, even more than the Department of Transportation. But they said the concerned agencies, all the people who have the laws, are asking, they're starting to ask questions and have meetings, and hopefully we'll learn the shortfalls and discuss how to shore things up before some kind of an incident, national incident, descends on us. It's being proactive instead of reactive. I think the national news, if you watch CNN, this thing has been all reactive. They know that the universal precautions that the medical people apparently been taking have not been adequate. We got to start on a local level. And I'll answer any questions. I'll work with anybody that if you have any questions, have them call.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So I know everybody doesn't want
Thank
to
you,
get
Mr.
alarmed, and the news every day
you.
seems like they had another nurse, or it's not, what you call epidemic or whatever, but, in Africa and where the origins are and the fact that it has arrived on American soil. I know I was at an Industrial Foundation meeting this morning, and the subject came up even in that. The local hospital is going to do a tabletop exercise. Hayden, you may be contacted about that. 2 or 3 years ago, they did a big pandemic exercise or two, and then, that wasn't real active. And there really wasn't anything on the horizon or that had evidenced itself yet. But, it's always been something that's been discussed, particularly in public health and emergency management, emergency response. And now that there's something real out there, I think it, to err on the side of caution, what you got to do.
I talked to a physician this week about that. In fact, he brought it up to me. And we have so many exotic infections. He brought up the fact that everybody was so concerned about MRSA, which is methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, MRSA. He said that ain't even a drop in the bucket compared to what's out there. And if we don't get a hold on it, and if we don't use universal precautions and some good judgments, and the state is beginning to realize this too, we could really be in big trouble. Because this Ebola thing, I know in the African countries, it's got an 80% mortality rate. Over here, it's not as high, but it's still 50 or 60%.
Yeah.
The people who get it die. And only through knowledge and only through good procedural precautions can you get a hold of it. But I'll be there for anybody, as Will, Robbie, and Jason, and we have a good team in this county.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Keith.
Thanks, sir.
Keep us posted. Okay, the detention center don't have any direct report from them. Robbie, update?
Currently, we're 2,013 runs for the year. We're up about 117 runs from where we were last year. Like Keith was talking about, my sales rep called about the Tyvek suits that I bought for $4 a month ago, now are $20. So those manufacturers, of course, are taking advantage of that. We have them. We've always had them on our truck. I don't foresee us having a problem, but it is something that just want you to know we've always been prepared. This ain't any different than the H1N1 a few years ago. It's not any different than the swine flu thing. I think the media likes to blow up something new to get everybody scared. In general, I think as far as emergency services, we're always prepared as best as we can be. So
Absolutely.
let's know we got what we need.
Okay, thank you, Robbie.
Thank you. Can't say enough. You guys do a great job.
Okay, Hayden, you have anything you want to?
I'll follow up on Robbie and Keith. I get daily emails from the Department of Public Health and Emergency Management. Most of them I'll forward them on to Robbie in the hospital and whoever else. We're aware of it, we're on it. Fire school's next weekend. Ricky tells me we've already had over 40 people registered. We usually have about 200 for the total class from all over Kentucky, and we even had one registered from Virginia to come to our school in Marion County. We're not going to do lunch this year. We're going to let the participants go out to the local eateries and spend some tourism dollars, I guess. We will have a meal on Saturday night. I need permission to order 3 porta potties for the satellite classes that are out in the field. We do it every year.
Do it every year, right?
Need permission to do that. And I also, past I've gone to Sam's and got 10 or 12 cases of bottled water for those satellite spots. They always have it left over and we use it for local response. I need to get 10 or so more cases of water.
Yes, sir, it's not a problem. I'd make a motion, we normally, Mr. Mangley, you normally call them and get those.
Yeah, I can
Porta
order
Johns.
the Porta Johns. Need them out to the fire training center and,
One at the Fire Training Center and one at Craig Farms on Campbellsville Highway. We're going to do rock class and something else out there.
their elevator site on the side of 68 there.
Silos.
Need male, female, or just,
Probably so.
okay.
One at the training center and one or two at the
Craig Farms.
Craig Farms.
Motion to approve. I'd like to also add your water along with that as well.
Doesn't matter going to Walmart or somewhere.
Second.
A motion to approve the Porta Johns and water and whatever needs of the fire school.
Mr. Smothers?
Yes.
Mr. Masterson?
Yes.
Mr. Wicker?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Are they going to need sponsorship for that evening meal? Has that been something that they've brought up or
Turn in the middle and
passed?
We always do.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
this year I think Eddie Masterson's going to grill some ribeyes or something. They're doing buffet like that in the past. It's going to be less expensive.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Okay, Steve, do you have any update or anything you wanted to add for animal control?
Nah, Larry's my secretary and he's gone.
As far as I know, everything's running pretty normal. I know Kay was on a little trip there for the week.
There you go. Husband-in-law.
Okay, we'll skip over the
That was a good one.
gets the bills just for a minute. There's a couple things we're going to have to add there in a second. I do need to schedule, if we go down to old business and new business, we have a committee usually that we'll pull in together. Usually Jailer Brady has the largest employee base. Usually John Arthur Cotton, you've been on that before for health insurance review, and
Yes, sir.
I think maybe Robbie's been on it. Kevin, you've sat in on that, I think, or Melissa, or we generally have a pretty good group of county people to face off against Humana and the agent link folks and try to come up with some of our local numbers. And, you know, we negotiate the best we can, but it's takes a little delegation, I think, to kind of face them. So we'll try to schedule that meeting and may have more than one. If we get multiple quotes, we'll try to have it maybe with two different groups on 2 different days, but I'll get back with you when that's scheduled.
Yes, sir.
Would y'all be willing to serve, though? If
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, if we go back to the bills just for a minute, I guess the on your desk there, Kevin and Melissa ran off a copy of these annual state and federal poster requirements of state Kentucky Federal Labor Law Poster Service. Sends these out, they're, I guess, official size, and we post them at the, I guess all the bulletin boards in this building. They're required to be posted and updated annually. This is about the normal price, $200, $242, a little discount on that. I'd like to add that. Y'all see that bill. One thing that just came in today, and I did get a response from District 4, on your table, the construction at the industrial access road site, the crossroad site, I got a contractor's pay estimate, and it's in your table. It's on your desk there. I did send a copy of it over to District 4, and they said they don't need to concur with it since they've already approved the contract. The contract's already been signed for that, and they know that they can't exceed that contract and the pay estimate that they submit, as long as Brad Spalding has reviewed it, who's our engineer. And I attached a copy of an email that he sent, actually, the pay estimate to me, and said that he did review it. It appears correct, but he hadn't been out there for about 2 weeks, but what he saw concluded was covered under this pay estimate. So I guess, you know, and my question to District 4 was, if we pay it, can we submit it and go ahead and get reimbursed for it? and that was answered by Kevin Young, that we can either pay it, get it paid for almost immediately. We'll have to pay it, because that's the way those MOAs were written, is that it's not money we got up front, we have to pay for it, then they reimburse us. But we won't get reimbursed unless we pay it first. So I guess it seems to be adequately documented and verified by the engineer. So I'd entertain a motion that we go ahead and approve the first pay request for the Crossroads project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Smothers?
Yes.
Mr. Wicker?
Yes.
Mr. Masterson?
Yes.
Unanimous.
And one of the things you had received, each court member has in our budget line item this year, fiscal court special project money, and we have one request, I guess, from Magistrate Masterson for a project that will obligate his, I guess, component of that, and each magistrate has access to develop projects within their community that would, I guess, incur about $10,000 sometime this year.
Yeah.
So I entertain a motion that we approve the request for the
Motion to approve.
fiscal court project money for that amount.
Thank you.
Mr. Smothers?
Yes.
Mr. Wicker?
Yes.
Mr. Masterson?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you. That has to be a special one-time project.
Usually it's one big project that kind of incurs that dedicated amount. That's kind of what we talked about when we set it up in the budget this year.
Yeah, I remember.
All districts would have equal funding in that amount. Anybody else have any other bills? Kevin, there were no other bills besides what you had there, was it? So entertain a motion to pay the bills with additions.
This, I don't, one question, it's not opposing it, but can we, we're on different committees, can we take our committee members and stuff, like the Rosewood thing here? Are we allowed to do that? If, I'm not opposed to
Talking
it.
about for special projects?
No, it's when you have your committee meeting.
Oh,
I mean, I don't see a problem with it. I think what was that this meeting was the chiefs and the assistant chiefs. So, I mean, if you took a department head, you know, working on a project, that's my personal.
I mean, I'm not, no opposition, I just want to know if I could do it, or if you could do it, or.
I'd say if you have a committee meeting and you needed to have a special accommodation, it would probably be an allowable expense.
Okay.
We don't do that once a year.
Right.
That's mostly a fire
And it's
training meeting.
Chiefs and assistants. It's
Wrapping up all
right.
the details of the fire school. Any other questions about the bills? Okay, entertain a motion to pay the bills with
Motion to
additions.
pay the bills with
Second.
addition.
Mr. Smothers?
Yes.
Mr. Wicker? Mr. Masterson?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, all the business that I have, y'all have anything else you want to?
I don't. Good.
Good.
Adjourn.
Second.
MTA.
All righty.